Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you... Okay, let's try it again. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, then please do consider subscribing. So, I've used the Mi 11 Ultra for a full 2 weeks. This device is probably going to cost around £1,000 in the United Kingdom, roughly there or thereabouts. Now you do get a lot for your money, but as always, there are still room for improvements. So let's get into the review. So the Mi 11 Ultra boasts a whopping 12 gigabytes of RAM, a gorgeous 6.81 inch Quad HD plus Samsung E4 AMOLED display with a screen resolution of 3200 by 1440p. If that's not enough, the display also has an adaptive refresh rate of 120 Hz. Now that makes the display look so much better and very responsive to the touch as well. And protecting this stunning display is Gorilla Glass Victus, so there's less chance of getting any scratches on there. The Mi 11 Ultra is powered by the latest and greatest Snapdragon chipset, the Snapdragon 888. Yes, the phone is fast and handles pretty much everything you throw at it. But one thing I have noticed over the last couple of weeks is the device does get very hot, especially when gaming. I did do a gaming review recently, about an hour's worth of gaming, all condensed into like a 30-minute video. But it got so hot, I really didn't want to touch it any further. So it does get really hot. Sometimes when you're using the video camera for a long period of time as well, it can get quite hot there. But the performance was never affected. There was never any errors or overheating errors or anything like that. It's just the phone does get extremely hot sometimes. So when you pick this device up and you hold it, you know you are carrying a premium phone. It is absolutely solid. The ceramic back is the icing on the cake. It makes it feel so smooth and silky. It just feels really premium, and it is over £1,000. With it being ceramic, a ceramic back, it is very slippery, and if you have dry hands like I do sometimes, it can glide out of your hands. If you have sweaty, sort of clammy hands, then you can get a bit of a grip onto it, I suppose. But when you're laying this down on any surface, try and make sure it's flat, like a flat fabric, because otherwise it's going to be sliding off. And I've had a couple of near misses before. But the ceramic back, the aluminium frame, the Gorilla Glass Victus on the front, altogether the package is beautiful. It's a pleasure to hold, but hold it tight. Yeah, so overall build quality is excellent. There's no sort of bend or flex. I know people do these silly bend tests and stuff like that. But yeah, even the thickness as well is just about right for my hands. I do have huge hands. That's a 6.8 inch display as well. That fits in the palm of my hand like that. But yeah, I have no problem handling this phone. Maybe people with smaller hands might struggle a little bit, but in terms of thickness, I think it's just right. Okay, so one of the things I'm not too fond of on the Mi 11 Ultra is the under-display or under-screen fingerprint sensor. Now, don't get me wrong, it is rapid. Once you've got it, it is rapid. But it's just the getting it, the first part, actually finding it. It's not as reliable as a trusty fingerprint sensor on the back, or maybe you know, a built-in one like here on the Poco F3, built in with the power button at the side. Perfect. If this had a fingerprint sensor on the side built into the power button, I'm confident unlocking will be 100% successful all of the time. I don't feel there's any benefit of having an under-screen fingerprint sensor in a smartphone. For me, all it does is just tick the box as a futuristic sort of specification or feature. I think it's not 100% practical. Built into a button on the side or at the back is more practical than it is under the screen as well. I don't know why they do it. There's no benefit in my eyes. If you feel differently, let me know down in the comments below on your views. So not a big fan of the in-screen fingerprint sensor, but you do have the option to do face unlock. And the face unlock on here is rapid, it works. It also works sometimes when you're wearing a mask, which is good, but then it also makes me question the security, how strong that is on the face unlock on the Mi 11 Ultra. It's not as secure as, say, like the iPhone 12. So whether you want that enabled on this phone or not is obviously entirely your choice, but yes, it will be less secure than an iPhone. And it does struggle in dark sort of environments to unlock your face as well. But the feature is there, but the fingerprint sensor is a more secure solution. So I want to jump on to one of my other favorite features, and that's the speakers. One at the bottom, one at the top, equal amount of power and frequencies. So it's a nice stereo sort of experience when you're listening to music. It has the stamp on the top of the phone, sound by Harman Kardon, and they're excellent. Excellent sound quality, crystal vocals, and nice low ends for the kicks as well. The loudspeaker is a huge tick on the box for me. So the Mi 11 Ultra has a 5000 milliamp battery, which is quite big, but this does have a Quad HD Plus display, 120Hz refresh rate as well. I stripped it all back on one of the days, so I was down just full HD Plus and 60Hz. Now, the battery or the screen on time for that day, I got a very good 7 hours and 56 minutes, which is plentiful for most people. Didn't do a huge amount of gaming really on that. It's just sort of an average use really. And then on one of the other days, I whacked it all the way to full Quad HD Plus, but I kept it at 60Hz refresh rate. And on that day, I achieved 6 hours and 34 before I went to bed, but I still had 17% battery left on there. So I think the battery performance, obviously depending on what you're doing, can get you through a full day, but if you're a heavy user and you're gaming a lot, then do not expect it to last a full day. So the Mi 11 Ultra ships with Android 11 and their own MIUI 12 over the top. On this actual device, this is the MIUI 12.0.6. The OS is so configurable. There's so many settings on this operating system, is unreal. Well, one of the little features that stuck out in my head is the clear speaker feature. If you turn that on, it will basically play a certain frequency and try and blow out any dust or crap in the speaker. The OS is pretty slick and the menus are very easy to navigate, but what I did find over the past couple of weeks is sometimes I'd have very slow notifications come through, or even sometimes miss notifications altogether. And I experienced that as well on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, obviously with the same software, the MIUI obviously. So there's an issue or two there for MIUI I think really need to iron out in terms of notifications. On my Pixel 5, they come through like that. I don't miss a notification. So there's a couple of little things in there which I think would be good if they ironed out. So to the nitty gritty, the main talking point is that camera bump. That is the main talking point for me on the Mi 11 Ultra, because there's a lot going on here, a hell of a lot. And first of all is that 1.1 inch AMOLED display, which is taken from the Mi Band 5. It is touchscreen as well. You can tap it and that will appear, which it just has there. You can display pictures on there like I have, also little quotes or little messages on there, and little themes, and also notifications and phone calls you can see on the back of the device. But that does beg the question, how many people lay their phone flat with the screen down and that facing up? I don't know. So some people will find that feature useful, and some it might just be a waste of time. Now that screen also integrates into the camera as well. So when you're taking a photo, you can switch it around to yourself and you're using the main rear camera to take a photo. That'll also work in ultra wide as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with video. So for all you vloggers out there who wanted to make use of that rear camera, you can't. It's just actioned or enabled for photo, but I'm sure Xiaomi will be looking into that to get that working on the main camera for video, because that would be excellent. I mean, I'm not saying you can't use that. People could still use that. You could line your face up in photo mode on the rear screen, then switch to video, then you sort of know where you've got to hold it. So you can still get around it, sort of. Something like that there. Although I'm not in photo, I'm not in video mode. To video mode. I'm using my camera to cheat that. Yeah, so it's that's the one, yeah. Just look straight down at the camera, all lined up. You could line that up there and make use of that fantastic big sensor on the rear of the phone. So quickly coming away from the back and moving to the front, that is a 20 megapixel front facing camera, 2.2 aperture. Now in terms of video, you can shoot up to 1080p at 60 frames per second with stabilization, which is good, very good, but for an ultra phone, I probably would have liked to have seen 4K 60 in there as well. That would have made it obviously a lot more ultra. In terms of quality of the front-facing camera, it produces very good photos. Color accuracy is really good. Also the bokeh mode, video stabilization is very good as well. But obviously when you take this into more darker conditions, then the photos do soften. Okay, so let's talk about the rear cameras. There's three. We have a 50 megapixel main sensor, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto. So I want to show you first some video clips. It can shoot up to 8K in 25 frames. I have tested that, but I'm not going to include that in this video. This video is not going to be 8K anyway. But the maximum I shot at was at 4K 60. Have a look at these videos. Oh, the hole in it. 4K ultra wide, 60 frames per second. It's a nice wide field of view. And stabilization is on, which is superb, it's working really well. And there they are, hiding. You hiding? Right, let's go down the steps. A little bit of judderiness down the steps, and we're here.
Yeah, that's just a
1080p, 60 frames per second. Stabilization is on here as well. So a nice wide field of view in the ultra wide. Stabilization is nice and smooth as well. It's looking really nice. Hey Aria, you dancing? So now we're on the standard, not ultra wide. Still a wide field of view, but with 1080p, 60 frames per second, stabilization enabled as well. So it's looking really smooth. We have the castle just over there.
yeah.
Now it's really good that there's stabilization throughout, 1080p well 720p actually, all the way up to 8K because there is stabilization there as well. I think the stabilization works really well. I think the quality of the video is excellent. And they also offer super slow mo, 1920, 1920 FPS. Now I tested a few shots at 1920 FPS in slow motion with my daughter and my partner and achieved some interesting results. Surprisingly, the quality is really good. A lot of smartphones, you can see the quality reduce when those sort of settings are being applied, but I think the actual quality is really good. So actually, when you're shooting in 1920 FPS, there's only like about 5 seconds of footage you get anyway, so you have to be pretty quick with whatever you're capturing. Now if you drop down to 480 FPS for slow motion, then you can record for pretty much however long you want, and you can choose and drag where you want the slow motion to occur as well. And again, as long as the subject's in focus, I think the quality is really good. So the slow motion can be found in the camera software settings, and there's loads of other options and features you can play around with there as well. There's also the vlog setting. You can jump in there, choose a certain feature, and it will just chuck a few video clips that you put together and record and create a tiny little vlog for you. In movie effects, you have a slow shutter effect. So this is called slow shutter effect. And you use this in low light conditions. Look at that slow shutter effect. Not why you'd want that, I do not know, eh? Looks very blurry. And they also played around with the parallel world as well.
No, it's too dark.
Where are you going? And the long exposure feature, that's a pretty cool feature to test. You can sort of draw lines with light as well in there, and that does a pretty good job as well. So I think the Mi 11 Ultra ticks a lot of boxes in the video mode. Let's now jump over to the stills. So it has the massive GN2 sensor, the largest sensor on a smartphone in the mass market, and obviously that lets in lots of light and helps you produce that nice bokeh creamy effect. I said this before in a video about the Mi 11 Ultra, 11 Ultra things. Portrait mode will be no more on smartphones. They'll also have a nice large sensor, nice wide aperture as well, and you're going to achieve those portrait looking effects, the bokeh effect. And this comes naturally on the Mi 11 Ultra. Beautiful shots I've captured. So I quite like Xiaomi's image processing. They do make it look very vibrant in the photos. The color accuracy in most cases is pretty much spot on, but there are times when it might oversaturate and maybe overexpose sometimes. So it's not always perfect, but on the whole, video quality and color accuracy is damn good. I love an ultra wide picture, and again I captured some fantastic ultra wide pictures on this. It's using the 48 megapixel sensor as well. And another thing I've noticed on the Mi 11 Ultra, just like the Redmi Note 10 Pro, is you do get quite a bit of lens flare in some of the shots. So some of these you can see the lens flare just across the photos, and obviously in a couple of videos as well. Some people really like the lens flare if it's actually applied correctly, but sometimes it can be a little bit off-putting. So the Mi 11 Ultra excels quite well in night mode, and with the larger sensor it has, it's going to let in more light. And when you do put it into night mode or even just normal camera mode, there will be a little setting that automatically detects that it's dark. It will say night 1S or night 2S. That's basically 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds of exposure the camera will let in before actually capturing the actual picture. Now, even if you're in absolute pitch black conditions, it somehow produces light from somewhere. Yeah, the pictures might not be absolutely amazing, but you can definitely see what's there. And even outside as well, if there's a tiny light source, that probably obviously will help. But look at these, absolutely insane. So let's talk about the 120x zoom a little bit of a gimmick if I'm being honest. So actually on the interface you can go all the way to 120 times. I think when using it I got the best results at 5 times really. Anything above that, especially 120, you're looking at, it looks like an oil painting really. It looks a bit of a sort of a mess, a little bit of a rubby mess. So in most cases the 120x will not really be usable, but it's a feature that they've crammed in there and they've plastered on the back of the device. But it's not something that I would use, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't either. That pretty much concludes my review of the Mi 11 Ultra. It has pretty much everything. If you do like a smartphone with all the bells and whistles, with all the latest tech, then this does have it. That little neat display on the back there, but it is going to drain your battery. That's another thing you got to consider. That will drain your battery more. But yeah, this has everything. And because I'm a tech reviewer, there are things that could be improved or things that I would change. And I've been through that for the review, but just to conclude, I'd put the fingerprint sensor in the power button. That would be perfect. I'd make that work in video mode, which I'm sure will come. I'd optimize the software in here so all the notifications were snappy, bang, bang, as soon as they were there, they delivered. But that, for me, those are the things that they could do to make it pretty much perfect. Now guys, I appreciate you all for watching, and hopefully I haven't bored you too much. But now I'm going to be using the Poco F3. I'm just jumping onto this properly now. I did do my unboxing. I've just installed an update and I'm going to install some games on this now and to test it. But that's got the nice side-loaded fingerprint sensor in there, you see. I know where the power button is, I know where the fingerprint sensor is. It's going to unlock 100% of the time. Any questions about the Mi 11 Ultra or anything, well, anything related to sort of smartphone tech, I don't want to know, like, you know, questions like, what would you have for breakfast, stuff like that. Just tech related stuff, that would be great. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, click that button down below. Also check out the Mi community. Without the Mi community, I would not have the pleasure of testing these Xiaomi devices and Poco as well. It's an absolute pleasure. But obviously these views are still my own. I'm not swayed by anything, absolutely 100% honest. But check out the Mi community, the forums, devices, support. It is really, really good. The links are in the description below. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.